by sheer accident, I had an opportunity to study philosophy at the University of Edinburgh, and I fell in love with it. And I fell in love with it for a very, very concrete reason. The problem that had haunted me was something that came out of my reading of Freud. Namely, when I was reading Freud, he had this idea that the self, the subject, was in the head, right? And had these, ego and the superego and the id bubbling up. And I just thought, that's nonsense, that I know that my subjectivity has something to do with the way people respond to me, something to do with how I was painfully aware from my earliest days as a kid of the possibilities of humiliation. And once you know you can be humiliated, then you know that yourself is not up to you. And the day I read Hegel's account of the master and slave, there it was, a model of the subject that was not in the head, but somewhere between you and me, out there in the world. And that for me was a revelation. No one else talked like that. No one else thought like that. And I just thought, if we're going to change the world, we've got to change hearts and minds. We've got to change the way we think about the world. And Hegel looked for me like, yep, that's the way I want to begin thinking about the world. Begin thinking about how human beings are bound together in these relationships of radical dependency. So that was the word that I felt was missing, I still think is missing, from our shared vocabulary, that we are radically dependent beings. And when I say we're radically dependent, I don't mean we're just dependent on others for food or for help. I mean who I am in my soul and myself is how I connect, get responded to, get recognized, fail to get recognized by others. Others can humiliate, harm, devalue, degrade. And I think that's where human life is lived, in those relationships of intersubjectivity. So yeah, my first philosophical insight was the subject is not in the head. It's in the social world itself.